A man built a fortune so vast that governments rewrote laws just to stop him, and then he spent the rest of his life trying to make the world forget how he made it. It sounds like the plot of a movie, but it is the story of one man and one company that changed the face of modern capitalism. What is the real secret that let the Rockefeller name survive when most fortunes vanish by the third generation? Hey, I'm Mike. Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the hidden forces shaping history, power, and money. Every video here reveals something most people never notice. If you love discovering the truths others overlook, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because what you're about to learn might just change how you see the modern world. John D. Rockefeller's life began quietly in Richford, New York. He grew up poor by the standards of later millionaires, worked odd jobs, and left school early to become a bookkeeper. His story matters now because the systems he helped build still shape money, politics, and philanthropy today. By the 1860s, Rockefeller was in Cleveland, near booming oil fields. He moved from trading oil to refining it, and then he made a choice that changed everything. Focus on the steady work of refining, not the risky work of drilling. This simple decision would become the spine of his power. Rockefeller's rise was not an accident. He saved, planned, and looked for value others ignored. He invested in research to clean low-quality oil. He bought competitors, and he cut costs in ways most rivals could not match. Little by little, the pieces fell into place, and Standard Oil grew. Standard Oil's growth looked normal from one angle: building factories, improving processes, hiring engineers. From another angle, it looked ruthless: secret deals, aggressive buyouts, and discounts from railroads that its rivals could not get. These tactics created a near monopoly. The scale of control stunned the nation. The company controlled the flow from refinery to pipeline to market. By the late 1880s, Standard Oil processed the vast majority of American oil. Figures, later cited in courts and newspapers, said as much as 90% of U.S. refining capacity. That dominance made Rockefeller not just rich, but politically powerful. But power breeds resistance. Public anger grew as small refineries closed and prices moved under the unseen hand of one firm. Journalists investigated. Politicians began to worry about votes. Laws were changed. The moment that seemed to threaten Standard Oil most was the legal push that invoked the Sherman Antitrust Act. The turning point came slowly and then suddenly. Scandals over secret railroad rebates and a failed railroad scheme called the Southern Improvement Company produced headlines and outrage. The press painted Rockefeller as an octopus with tentacles reaching into business and government. Public sentiment turned sharply against him. But he did not fall overnight. For years, the company weathered attacks, reorganized, and fought in court. When the U.S. Supreme Court finally ruled in 1911 that Standard Oil violated the Sherman Antitrust Act, the company was ordered to be broken into pieces. The breakup divided Standard Oil into many firms that you might recognize today as major oil corporations. The breakup should have been the end of a monopolistic era. Instead, it had strange side effects. Some parts of the former company became enormously successful on their own. Shareholders and Rockefeller himself wound up wealthier in some than many had expected. The legal victory was real, but the economic consequences were complex. John Rockefeller retreated from daily control in middle age and turned his attention to giving away money. He funded universities, medical research, and public health campaigns. The Rockefeller Foundation began in 1913 and became a major force in global health and education. Many asked, why give so much away? Some see sincere change, a man worn thin by power who wanted to help humanity. Others see strategy, philanthropy that shapes science, education, and public policy in ways aligned with private interests. Both views carry weight. Behind the scenes, the family engineered the survival of their fortune. They created structures few ordinary people see: family offices, irrevocable trusts, and tax-smart life insurance tools. These tools shielded assets, shifted tax burdens, and kept wealth inside controlled channels across generations. A short example helps. A life insurance policy owned and controlled by elders can become a tax-efficient way to transfer wealth to grandchildren. Multiply techniques like this by many trusts, holdings, and careful legal engineering, and you see how fortunes can last far longer than average. This is not magic, it is law and planning. Some historians argue the Rockefellers used influence to shape policy, sometimes in ways that aligned with American foreign policy aims. Others note that the family's philanthropy did enormous good, funding medical advances, sanitation programs, and agricultural research that saved lives. Both claims are supported by different archival records, but the question is, what would you have done in their place? The human toll of Standard Oil's rise was real. Small business owners lost livelihoods. Workers labored under intense conditions. Communities changed as local economies concentrated around large corporate power. Those human stories are often lost in the large numbers, yet they matter when we measure cost and benefit. Still, the science and medical work funded by the Rockefellers changed the world. Vaccines, medical schools, and research institutes advanced rapidly with their support. These gains are part of the complicated ledger of benefit and harm. At a systems level, Rockefeller's story teaches a few simple lessons. First, scale can create advantages impossible for smaller rivals to match. Second, laws lag behind business innovation. Third, philanthropy can heal and steer public life in new directions. Think of it like a powerful engine. It moves the car, but it also wears the road. What happened next was not a tidy moral ending. The family kept investing, diversifying, and changing with the times. Standard Oil's legal children became major global companies. The Rockefeller Foundation continued to fund global health campaigns and agricultural breakthroughs. The family, though diminished in headline dominance, remained influential. The family finally divested many direct fossil fuel holdings much later, citing ethics and changing priorities. Whether that was a moral turn or a strategic move is debated. The record shows both public statements and financial motives. We have seen the rise, efficiency, ruthless consolidation, secret deals. We have seen the turning point, public backlash, legal action, and the 1911 breakup. We have seen the aftermath, philanthropy, legal engineering, and long-lived influence. Some questions remain open: intention, motive, and the true balance of harm and good. Now we will look at how the tools developed by the Rockefellers became a blueprint for modern wealth, and how similar strategies appear in today's biggest companies. After the breakup, the world adapted. Antitrust law evolved, regulators learned, and new firms rose. Yet the core techniques, consolidation, vertical integration, political influence, and strategic philanthropy, reappear in tech, finance, and media. The lesson is uncomfortable. Structures survive, even if faces change. We can trace techniques across time, but motivations and contexts shift, so exact equivalence is not guaranteed. What does this mean for us now? Big companies can build systems that last beyond any single leader. Laws can slow them, but often only after great public pressure. Foundations can solve urgent problems and also shape long-term agendas. The paths forged by Rockefeller and his peers are part of the machine that runs today's global economy. For creators, voters, and citizens, there are clear takeaways. Watch how wealth is structured, not just how much money exists. Demand transparency in both corporate deals and philanthropic funding. Support rules that make markets fair, while also supporting strong public institutions that are not easily swayed by private money. These are practical steps that are not guaranteed to work, but they matter. The question that haunts history is, did the good that followed ever fully cancel out the harm that preceded it? Before we close, have a look at the man, John Davison Rockefeller, who spent his last decades giving away much of his wealth and building institutions. People remembered his business deeds with anger and his philanthropy with gratitude. His life is messy, human, and larger than a single label. If this has changed how you see money and influence, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps our channel reach to people who need to hear these stories. The lasting secret behind Rockefeller's wealth was not one trick. It was a set of choices, like dominating an industry through scale and efficiency, using law and secrecy